And the second situation, okay, by operation of law, where the termination of agency also can happen when the contract of agency has been performed. Whatever task that has been given by the employer, okay, has been settled by the agent. Okay, agent has completed his task, so the contract of agency has been performed. Then it also uh, can lead to a termination of an agency, yeah, upon the expiry of the period fixed in the contract of agency. If the contract of agency between A and B has been stated that the agency between both of them will be for 2 years. Okay, so when the expiry of time happen, the period fixed in the contract has expired. So the termination of agency can happen between both parties. Death of the principal or agent. Upon death of the principal or agent, if the principal die, uh, the termination of agency occurs, and as well as if the agent die. But under section 161, okay, for the agency terminated by death of the principal, it's only effective when agent has notice of death. Okay, sometimes it happened. Okay, the agent not receive news about the death of the principal, and the agent still continue to do the task until the completion of the task happen. Dan lepas baru dah selesai kerja, barulah the agent got the news and that the principal, okay, already died. So in this situation, okay, based on the section 161 of the Contract Act 1950, agency terminated by death of principal dikatakan only effective when agent has notice of death. Okay, bila mana the knowledge of the death of the principal reach the agent. Sebab kita tahu bila mana agent melakukan tugas, dia akan dapat commission. He will receive commission or remuneration from principal. Tapi kalau kata principal dah meninggal, siapa nak bayar dia? Who will pay him? Tapi kalau kata dalam situasi sebulan selepas principal meninggal, baru dia dapat terima berita bahawa majikan dia dah meninggal. Okay. So in this situation, the next of kin of the principal has to pay lah. Sebabnya, okay, it is stated under section 161, the death of the principal only effective when it comes to the knowledge of agent. Begitu juga kalau kata dalam kes, kalau kata agent meninggal pun, termination of agency also happen. Sebab dia siapa yang nak teruskan task or instruction by the principal, sebab agent sekarang dah meninggal. So the death of the principal, the death of either principal or agent will lead to the termination of an agency. Cuma ada satu section khusus membincangkan bahawa in terms of death of the principal, it's only effective when agent has notice of death. When the principal or agent becomes insane, it's section 154. Sekiranya principal ataupun agent gila. So kita tahu tadi bila kita bincangkan kes Chan Ginty versus William Jacks and Co, agent can be a minor tapi agent tak boleh gila. Okay. So kalau kata principal atau agent gila, maka dengan sendirinya termination of agency berlaku. Penamatan agency berlaku based on 154. When the principal or agents become insolvent or is made bankrupt, if either principal or agents become insolvent, move lease, then termination of agency happen. Or in the situation of something which is out of our control. For example, something yang kita katakan act of God, benda yang kita tak dapat control, bencana alam dan sebagainya. So upon the happening of that event, okay, which render the agency unlawful, maksudnya the agency dia tak boleh, cannot be proceed. Okay, for example, in the situation of case of Stevenson here, okay, when the countries of agent and principal, okay, both country involved in a war, okay, so the relationship of agency there is terminated due to war. Okay, peperangan tu menyebabkan hubungan di antara uh, principal and agent terbubar. Okay, so there are two methods of termination of agency. Is either by act of the parties and also by operation of law. Itu je yang you perlu give an attention for the part of law of agency. Okay, you have to understand for the creation of, there are 5 methods of creation of agency, and then look at the duties of an agent and also termination of an agency. What is the way or method to terminate an agency? Is there any question, class, regarding this topic? The rest ni tak perlu baca pun. Agency under Islamic law al-kalah ni tak perlu. It's not related to your syllabus ni. Okay, just pay attention to what have been discussed saja. Is there any question, class? Anything that you want to ask? All clear? Senyap ni. Okay, Nabila cakap okay.
Ya, Doktor.
Right. Then we go to sale of goods. Untuk sale of goods pun kita zoom kepada apa yang perlu sahaja. Okay, since final exam question dah ready dah. But no worries. Okay, during our meeting, our last meeting nanti, during your presentation, I will highlight okay what topics, what subtopics that you should read. Sure. This is good. Okay. Untuk sales of goods ni kita akan bincangkan apa yang akan keluar untuk final exam je. And the rest tu you can have a read lah. Kita dah decide bila presentation untuk company and partnership for your assignment. The other group postponed to 17. Your group berapa bulan eh? Section 2 dia postpone to 17. 12 will be next week. So 12. Boleh kita postpone ke 13 hari bulan?
Boleh, Doktor.
Okay.
Boleh.
Then if we're not finish all the presentation in one day, okay, on 30th of January, then we can sambung the other week lah. Yeah. So on 12th, okay, we bring the presentation okay, to the next day on 30th of January. Yeah. 30th 13 hari Khamis, right? 12 hari Rabu. Tak. Saya salah.
13 Khamis.
Ha?
13 hari bulan Khamis.
13 hari bulan Khamis. So kita pindah daripada 12 hari bulan kita bawa ke 13 hari bulan. Okay, if there is balance of group yang tak sempat present on that day, then we can bring it to the next week lah. And in our last meeting nanti, saya akan bagi tips for final exam. Okay, so for this topic, okay, sale of goods, Akta Jualan, kita akan lihat kepada Akta Jualan Barang, Sale of Goods Act 1957 ataupun we know it as SOGA. SOGA 1957. Nama pendek lah, nak tulis Sale of Goods panjang kan, Sale of Goods Act 1957. So normally we know it as SOGA. Okay, SOGA 1957, Sale of Goods Act 1957. So if you buy something, okay, if you buy goods, then we will refer to 2Acts, i.e. the Contract Act 1950 and also Sale of Goods Act 1957. Okay. We will refer to 2Acts, kita akan refer kepada dua akta, i.e. Contract Act 1950 and also Sale of Goods Act 1957. This one is solely for purchase of goods. Okay, in terms of service, okay, there is not stated under Sale of Goods Act. Untuk servis kita akan guna pakai akta lain. Tapi for your syllabus, okay, we just discuss on Sale of Goods Act 1957 lah. Sebab ni memang kita bincangkan berkenaan dengan Sale of Goods sahaja. So it refers to Sale of Goods Act 1957 Malaysian. And I already insert in your, okay, already upload in your e-learning Sale of Goods Act 1957 in PDF form. So the Contract Act 1950, we have discussed this topic, okay, earlier, where to form a contract we need offer, acceptance, consideration, intention, capacity to enter into a contract, and then we also learn about how a contract can be a void contract, and also what is the factors that can stain a contract, and the contract, and a valid contract later on will be a voidable contract. And I think I give you record on the explanation of remedies and also termination, okay, of contract. So we have discussed about the law of contract. And for sale of goods, okay, Malaysian Sale of Goods is based on the English Sale of Goods Act 1893. Okay, Malaysian Sale of Goods 1957 ni, the basis of that act again is referred to the English Sale of Goods Act 1893, and then the English Sale of Goods Act 1893 been amended, kemudiannya menjadi Sale of Goods Act 1979. Okay, so the content, okay, the content of 1979 UK Sale of Goods Act has also been referred by Malaysian SOGA. And if you look at the both acts, again, the content is like similar. Okay, 90% of the content of Sale of Goods Act 1979 UK ada dalam Malaysian Sale of Goods Act. Dia tak jauh beza pun. Yeah. And when we talk about purchase of goods, okay, purchase of goods or sale of goods, the Consumer Protection Act 1999 also will come into picture lah. Okay, bila kita bincangkan berkenaan dengan pembelian suatu barangan. Okay, so Akta Perlindungan Pengguna 1999 juga akan mungkin dibincangkan, but for your syllabus, okay, will exclude the Consumer Protection Act 1999. Cuma untuk setengah subject dengan commercial law, for example commercial law accounting, we will discuss the Consumer Protection Act 1999 too. Tapi untuk this topic, which is focused on the Sale of Goods Act 1957. So as per I mentioned to you, okay, the SOGA 1957, okay, governs the law with respect to the sale of goods. So it excludes service. It excludes sale of service. Servis tak termasuk, ini hanya melibatkan barangan saja. it deals with such matter as contract for the sale of goods, the passing of ownership. The passing of ownership. When we buy something means that the original owner will pass the ownership to the new owner. You will buy something from a shop. Okay, so the owner of the shop will pass the ownership, okay, from him to us, the passing of ownership. And the list of goods sold, okay, the scope of SOGA 1957, and we also will discuss about the remedies of the buyers and seller for breaches by the other party. We go to skip that part. We go to the definition of goods. For the question which relates to sale of goods, bila you nak jawab soalan berkenaan dengan sale of goods ni, apa yang you perlu decide first ialah whether the item of that goods is considered as good or not. Benda yang dinyatakan dalam soalan tu adalah dianggap sebagai barangan ataupun tidak, whether it is fall under the definition of goods under section 2 of SOGA or not. Before you proceed with other explanation, okay, for any question, okay, you kena lihat dulu sama ada that goods is fall under section 2 SOGA or not first. So under section 2 SOGA 1957, goods been mentioned as every kind, okay, the definition of goods, every kind of movable property other than actionable claims and money, and includes stocks and shares, growing crops, grass, and things attached to or forming part of the land, which are agreed to be severed before sale or under the contract of sale. Yeah. So every kind of movable property, semua benda, okay, yang merujuk kepada sesuatu yang boleh dialihkan, movable property. You buy, okay, for example, you buy a piano, you buy sewing machine, okay, that one is considered as good. Benda yang boleh diangkat, okay, boleh digerakkan, movable property, other than actionable claims and money. Lain daripada actionable claims and money. So kalau kata actionable claims and money is not considered as good. And also includes stocks and shares, growing crops, grass, and things attached to or forming part of the land is also not considered as good. So when we talk about the movable property, dekat sini dinyatakan bahawa goods to exclude things attached to or forming part of the land. Jadi rumah tak termasuk sebagai goods. Yeah, things attached to or forming part of the land, okay, benda ni exclude. Stocks and shares pun bukan goods. Growing crops and grass pun is not considered as good. Okay, it's not considered as good. So things attached to or forming part of the